This meeting is being recorded.
There it is, 46. The 46 Gold Strategy Workshop is here. And we've spent hours hammering away at the strategy. So a quick shout out of congrats to Ryan Patrick for winning the IWA Championship out of the IWL. I brought up the question of, was he the lowest ratio of strats to championship in the game history? And Michael was quick to point out that he thinks Steve Bradshaw, who ran Armas Archuleta out of the MRL, had multiple championships, which I'm just curious.
It might have been like 5, though. I don't think
Still,
it was 3.
I mean, still, if I had 3 wrestlers and I won the championship, I'd be like, what up, babe? Walk around the bar, swing that title.
There's probably been a few more. I just can't think of them offhand.
I would recommend to Ryan to, if possible, pay the extra money, get the belt upgraded, little bigger, fancier belts, because like mine, I figure I never win it again. And I haven't, but I will this cycle. I'm calling my shot. This is the cycle. I win it again. I don't keep saying that. So, all right. So our 46 Gold Strategy Workshop. I do want to thank all of our followers and listeners. Like and subscribe. I guess I could just do that, something like that. But I have really crappy other videos. That's okay though. But we have a lot of fun stuff to look at here and some new perspectives to take into thought as far as your options. So I'll let Mike take it away.
Yep. So I'll start with, I've already eliminated several. Let me explain why. We're on one of those good cycles where we know that hole 25 being at 29 gives us a lot of eliminations. And you see all the blanks that are red?
Yes.
We eliminated those because it would have had a 25 drop in it. So we took out 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm sorry, not all 10 from that. 6 from that. These were eliminated, the 28, 27s, because that was gold last cycle.
Yes.
And these 4 were eliminated because that was iron. And 26s were eliminated because that was steel. So we had our 2 eliminations from that. We had our 6 from hole 25. And we had this set from gold last cycle. We know that it's incredibly rare from the drop 2 cycles ago as well.
Yeah.
What was it, like 5% when we looked at it? I don't have
it was a while we looked at it. It was one of those things where it didn't make much sense to do that. Yeah. I've traditionally not done it because it just happens so rarely.
Yeah. If it happens, say okay, move on. Yeah. And we're going to eliminate 29, 26 because of that. It's just, I don't see a reason to take the gamble. So we're barely getting started, and we're already down to a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 fronts and 8 backs, 80 total. To go one step further, 45 and 8 rarely happens. When it was 2 cycles ago, there was the 25s. We know that
exact same
luckily that one does, but not both. It actually happened, 2 or 3 cycles ago? It was really recent.
Yeah.
And that was only like the 2nd time out of the last 50. So odds of us seeing that again this year, really low to close to 0. So we took that off. So we were actually down to 3, 4, 8, 9. So 9 fronts, 8 backs, 72. What we did the percentages on today really felt like, we could start to lean on from 2 cycles ago. We said both won't drop.
Right.
One could drop. It has happened at a great rate, 80% over the last 20 cycles in gold.
Now that's a good number to keep in mind as far as, we talk all the time about going with your safer bet as opposed to being the one guy in the room that figured it out. And this is a good example of that where, I can play one of those 2 to drop, and it's a good chance it's going to happen. 50%, we talk about 60% or more is where it kind of gets in that field of like, okay, I'm going to bank on that. So 80%.
Well, 80% is great. And you see it goes in long stretches. There was this little in between, but unlike some, like when we talk about if you take a double drop, you risk having both drop out of it if you're wrong. you're not necessarily guaranteed to be wrong on the one you pick, and your other one could be safe. So it's a little safer, but that's happened at such a great rate that you could be pretty comfortable picking one of the two. And so if we go back up to the chart, the ones in orange, because I'd labeled up here that those were the 25s, that is the ones that have one in it. So there's actually 5 that could be off of that. So if we put in 5 with our backs, we're down to 40. So
Dun, dun, dun.
if you feel comfortable, this will continue. Likely, the back and this, it's probably going to miss sometime soon. But as you see, it could go on a few more cycles. Probably just lean into it and just accept it when it misses, and that it'll bounce back. But yeah, I think we cut down to those, which makes the 27s go away, and I'm sure people are happy about that. Nobody likes taking it. We keep taking it. It's the most due out of how long it's
Controversy.
happened. But yeah, I'm trying to give you a good reason not to take it this cycle. Put it on 1 if you want, but don't go all in on it. Anybody?
I will say that the most frequent thing is currently the 27s, more so than the 28s, which I know all about.
But 28's still on here.
I will say 8 and 12 as a combo. That's a danger. Just saying.
Yeah. And here's another little thing. So last cycle, this is what happened. A 29-28 didn't drop. The 29-27 was still last cycle. 28s didn't drop, and 28-26 was iron. We know that in gold, it's incredibly common for something that didn't drop last cycle to drop here. And when previously it talked about how it impacts the rest of the cycles, because those don't impact the rest of the cycle.
Mhm.
It's not marked off anywhere, so you can typically get those and not do a lot of damage. Those two were 29-28 and 28s.
So those are
And
the
what's
two that are
great about
more
those-
likely
yeah.
to drop. You'd
Yeah.
say you'd
And
lean more.
they're incredibly, like, you see, because of 25 having dropped in all last cycle to 29,
Mhm.
it's only going to eliminate 2 fronts or 1. So yeah, it's a nice option to go here and keep the strength of everything for the rest above 100. Yeah, so probably don't rule out 28-26 just off that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm liking that a 28 will drop, and it's interesting though, you get this 29-27 with the 2 combinations. Everyone else outside of down here has 2, but yeah, we'll hide that one, condense this a little more. Yeah, so I'm inclined to. I like that one of these that didn't drop will drop. Out of a 28 though, I would almost like to, especially since we got it down to just 1 option in each.
Mm-hmm.
I'll probably take like 2 of each and do 2 backs.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
To be safe. If I see something else somewhere that I would think, maybe 1, then I would go 4. But I'm happy that we could get it down to 2 and then do a couple of backs instead. But yeah,
No.
I'll probably just be going with the 8s over the 29-27.
Okay. Now, would you say I've always felt this kind of pretty segue, but when the front end looks really predictable, that the back end is crazy, or vice versa, do you find that to be a
No.
commonality? No.
People assume, but like if you look at these, it fairly it lines up. It's nothing nothing happens, and it's kind of an assumption that something crazy happened. What technically does that mean? What was crazy about it?
I
Yeah,
would say
it's,
I would say a 45 to 42 or a 41
okay,
to
yeah, it's something crazy like that.
something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that we know that for the most part, anything like that's going to happen at the beginning. I say
Okay.
most because last cycle it actually. Let's see, over here. Last cycle had this all of a sudden. It was after gold. Uh, they could maybe do it, but you'll see bronze and jade all of a sudden had this where both 43, something that used to happen 5-6 years ago on a regular basis, doesn't really happen anymore. Um, you see it happened in steel, happened in bronze, and it happened in jade. I don't know if they're bringing it back, but yeah, keep an eye on that. Don't do anything with it. Nothing crazy until we see it, but
Okay.
could happen here. But yeah, that was it was an interesting cycle outside of gold for that reason.
All right.
But it's rare. It's really rare that anything like that happens. And like I said, if it's going to be the scary 42 or any kind of unusual like the 24 jumps, that's going to happen before. Yeah, so worst case we could get this 43 happening, but I don't know if they were just doing something last cycle. We'll see.
Messing with us.
Yeah,
With
I
a
was
gun.
wrong a minute ago.
Yeah,
There's actually
bum.
6. I said 5 fronts. There's 6. I just didn't count right. So we're at 48, not 40.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, so to recap, we like the percentage that something that went a 25 ago probably will happen again. It's not the end of the world if it doesn't, but it's a good thing to lean on.
Yeah.
From the previous cycle, it's typically going to be iron, jade, or a blank. You see steel and diamond, rarely mess with it. Interesting because you kind of assume back-to-backs would, just because it's easier to that week it kind of messes with people, but no, they're falling behind pretty far because this is what 4, 8, 13, 21, 29. This is 45 cycles worth of information, so it's happening less than 10% of the time on steel and diamond.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And see, 16 out of 45. 36% of the time. So something for 7 options. That's healthy because on average, if it's 7 options, it should happen about 14% of the time. So yeah, it's over double, but 2.5 times more likely than it should be.
So what will hit could be that it hadn't hit previously.
Yep.
Oh, all right. So how about our back end? How bad is that looking?
Yeah. So gold with some of these trends has been very generous to us. It's more consistent than typical, which messes with people because they keep thinking, oh, it's got to change this cycle, and then they do it in this. Like the swerve is there's no swerve. It's a genius move on the IWA's part when they do that, because people start overthinking and then just miss what they should go for.
Right.
Yeah, and with that said, as you see, this 43-1 is just
very.
We're riding a streak that's got to end soon.
Yeah.
Because we also know 44-1 is hold 90 this cycle, so it's locked in.
Right.
We'll put that in our 11th spot. Sorry, 1 second. All right. Yep. So we'll lock in the 44-1 because that's hold 90.
Yep. Makes sense.
You see, we're starting to get a little more of the 45-2 going to 44. I'm fine just keeping it this way with the 1 and the 2.
Mm-hmm.
How did this?
Unhide.
Yep. So then all we have to pick is between 43-1, 43-2,
Right.
and between a 41 and a 42. And this is probably where I think there's more decisions to make because, like I said, there's 8 combinations between those two. It's a little tough because you basically have to make the decision: do you assume they're going to keep going with the 1, or if that'll switch to a 2?
The swerve with the non-swerve.
Because it's so that's kind of the main decision for everybody to make is do you want something that's happened a little more than it should to keep going, or will it actually switch this cycle? Yeah. So that's the main question. That's tough to answer. It could happen. As far as a 41 or a 42, as you see, it's actually, since we tracked the 20 some cycles ago here, it's not been 3 in a row that went either a 41 or a 42.
So
I always say I would recommend taking 41s just because they're a little safer because you always get a 42 at least. But this says odds are that a 42 will hit.
And that again, that's what I consider, like, again, I mentioned, we were talking on our pre-show about, like, when I do my strategies, I'll get like my A strat and then take the A strat, give it to another wrestler, and put that 13th hold like a 41B or 42. That way I figure, well, if I have it right and 41's dead, 42 hits, at least someone will cover that up. What to do?
That takes us down to 24 options.
My God.
If we go with the 42. So all we really did, we marked out what can't happen because of our standard rules. We picked this assumption over here. And that got us down to the 5 and then 4. Wait, no, 6. I keep saying 5. It's 6 up here. So yeah, I kind of think that that covers it to the end. So yeah, your decision is which of those 25s from 2 cycles ago do you like? And you'll cut off 3 of the 6 options if you can pick one. There's not really anything to base which one you're picking. It's pretty varied between if it's the strong or the weak one, things like that. But yeah, find something in this little section that you prefer. And like I said, I'm going towards the 42s just because it's a little less, but
yeah,
I wouldn't fault anybody for going 41s just because, like I said, you're not going to hurt your strat too bad if you pick a 41 and it goes to 42. We've got the chance to go into 41 here. So on those close calls, it could hurt us, but percentage-wise, it's just a little more likely. Yeah.
No,
and this is yeah. You just want to kind of play chicken and say that this keeps going, or go the other way, because this is where the bigger drop would be. You're probably going to lose. I mean, all would go all the way to 41, so you could lose up to 4 points if you get this one wrong. So that's a tough one.
Yeah, that's a biggie.
Yeah, this one's a 2-point mistake. This could be a 4-point mistake. So. So it may be if you could get down to, like, if I did go 28s, and I like the 42s, then I can play both 43s. Yeah, that's 1 front, 4 backs. But like I said, I think I'll end up trying to go 2 fronts, 2 backs. So I'll have to make that decision, but not sure on it yet. As far as when these happened the last time, 29, 28, 6 cycles ago, 29, 27, 3 cycles ago. 28 to 11 cycles ago, and 28, 26, 4 cycles ago.
Yeah, that's
Um,
good chunk of
These are a
change,
little
huh?
recent, but you know, it happens. It's not too crazy for something to go 3 or 4. Let's look through here. Like 3, there's one, there's one, there's one, there's a 4, there's a 3. So there's a common. We know it's rare for 1 or 2. Like you see, there's only a couple instances of those, but there's a few more that have the 3 or the 4. But yep. So, like I said, I think this is a quicker show because
Fewer
yeah,
options, sure.
it's
I
easier to
think,
get down.
you know, it boils down to, like, if you get your front 10, you know, that 43-1 or 43-2 is kind of a, you know, a gamble. But then, you know, what's it, 13, 41s, 42s? So I think that makes it's maybe make it tougher because it's easier, but you know, that's part of the game. We got a lot of, you know, game wise, there's a lot of big matches coming up this cycle. So, you know, title matches and such,
Mm-hmm.
for tournament and stuff like that. So, no pressure, guys.
Yeah.
But no, it's good to have a show like this every so often. But we were talking earlier, we might end up doing a revamped version of the how to win in that way, kind of make it easier for players to kind of get in and get going. And I know the newer players watch these and they're like, "But what's the drop?" You know, like, you know, what's this mean? You know, it's like, well, let's break it down. So we'll put that on the back of the stove for now, but possible. But yeah, I think we're looking at a simpler cycle. I always say that, you know, we always have the advantage in gold of seeing the curveballs coming. So we're not getting that this cycle, so that's good. It's been a while. We're due. But again, the IWAR seems to be going with the swerve is the non-swerve, you know, so keep playing it safer, and then we'll see what happens. But I think we did a good job this week for this show, and we'll see how it plays out. Any other major mistakes people should not fall for when it comes to
Not that I can think of. It's pretty much, we looked at the few things, so nothing stands out right now. It's just keep moving forward with it, and it's good.
Call this a wrap on the 46th show. I managed to get through with my 3rd bout of COVID, so that's great. And I'll wrap this up, post it, and I'll get back to writing the pay-per-view. All right. Well, thanks, Mike. Really good show.
No problem.
We'll follow up. Thanks, guys. Good luck.
All right. See you.